This is a little story called Tequila. I don't drink tequila anymore. I mean, I do, just not like other liquors. Sure, a margarita here or there, mixed into some foo-foo drink, it isn't quite the same animal. But by the time you're drunk enough to think that shots of tequila are a good idea, they usually aren't. And that is exactly the spirit of that particular spirit. Bad ideas and worse execution. A bar in a basement somewhere in Mexico. Tequila was flowing and there were drinks on fire. We were out of hand and my brother took back the driver's license he'd given me as my 17th birthday present, so that I didn't end up getting us all in trouble with the federales. There was a window in the bathroom higher than the top of my head, above a crude urinal made of bent sheet metal. I could see feet brushing past every now and then. I was alone, I think, but I was having a contest to see if I could piss out of the window. I found that if I pinched it just right and hopped, I could make it. I felt a profound rush of accomplishment. By the time we'd crawled out of the place, the guys selling roses and all the other multifarious street charlatans had dispersed. The alleys smelled of sharp glares and stabby itinerants. Probably a good idea to eat something, as we still had to make it back north of the border somehow. Now, I've never eaten cat and known it, nor have I dined on giant rat, but whatever greasy, dark meat was in my tacos that night was, with absolute certainty, not chicken. As to which it might have been, as I said, I've never eaten cat or rat and known it, thus I had no real basis of comparison. It wasn't as firm as rattlesnake, or as lean as rabbit, not as underwhelming as cuy. Fajitas de gato, my brother said. Or maybe I said that, and he told me to shut up so we didn't end up in prison. It was probably the latter. We made it back to Texas, a blasted, flat shithole of a place, the Valley. I didn't know why anyone would ever want to live there, aside from the no state income taxes moral loophole.
Yeah.
It was a cultural wasteland, I thought, for earlier the previous day, my mother introduced me to a group of large-haired, bottle-blonde squawking hens. Devin spent some time in Japan, blah, 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 she told them. Is that so? One of them drawled. Do you speak any Chinese? This one introduced me to her daughter, a fine specimen to the eyes for a dunce. She watched college football on television, and I tried to find a reason to want to fuck her. I was largely unsuccessful. They have more than enough Shiner Bock, thank God. I must have had 3.5 hours I was there. I won't argue against it. Texas has at least one thing going for it. What did you do in Japan? Idle banter. Sword fighting, I said. Well, isn't that nice? Years later, I'd have a conversation with my mother about just how much of a shithole Texas is. It's hot as a baboon's asshole in the summertime, and in the winter it's still hot, but the storms are destroying everything in sight. Not that there's that much. Hell, the highest vantage point for miles was an overpass, and good luck finding a tree. The sunsets are beautiful, the skies are beautiful, she'd said. The clouds are pretty. The sky is beautiful everywhere, it's just that everywhere else there's usually something else to look at. Texas has to have pretty clouds, like fat girls have to give good head. In the day, me and my brother and his brother from another mother, a big, tough, excitable Marine sergeant, would off-road in a golf cart likely not made for it. Our cup holders and unshod toes soaked with whatever we found in the fully stocked bar of my soon-to-be stepfather's home. We were shitty drunk before noon with metronome regularity you could set your watch to. I was perhaps 17 years old when I decided I liked my stepfather and wouldn't dispose of him. My mother and I and her suitor were going to dinner. He pulled the car to the front of a restaurant under the pretense that she could get us a table while we parked the vehicle. Once she was out, we drove around the back, parked, and he turned around on the driver's seat. If you give your mother any more shit today, I'll fucking kill you. I knew that was the exact moment that I liked him. He had earned my approval. I knew right then that he was more concerned with her happiness than trying to win me over, and that is why I accepted him. But that he'd spoken my language, well, I suppose that was icing on the wedding cake. I said all of this at their wedding reception the night before the ceremony to a room full of folks whose humor I had apparently not gauged well. That or I was beyond hammered when I delivered the story. Looking back, both seemed likely. I think I dressed myself while sober on the morning of the wedding. It being the morning carried no extra sanctity, no prohibitive platitude about not being drunk before a designated hour. No such nonsensical conventions could stand in my way. Brunch, after all, was a solid example, absolute proof that Texan God loves us and wants us to get drunk before 11, on mimosas that don't have any orange juice in them. The fact that I'd been sober while dressing became relevant as I climbed out of the swimming pool in a tuxedo. It turned out that I had been wearing 2 different shoes throughout the entire wedding. I don't think anyone caught on. But the curious bit was that I hadn't noticed for the entire night, even after dancing for hours. I excused myself from having made the mistake, a wedding brewing and all, but then there were my brother and the sergeant, with whom I later break a toilet. And I don't mean we broke the seat off, I mean we broke it in half. And that was after we broke a door off of its hinges. Now that I think of it, we might have broken the doorknob off too. And I might have bitten someone. That poor fucking kid that lost me, so full of compassion, so bright, but so utterly without direction, a pinpoint of light in the night dark, a speck in a sea of infinite nothing. Stupid damn kid. I didn't see the devil set aside for me, not yet. I'm not the same person as he. I'm a part of the monster that ate him. There are high-quality tequilas, there are expensive tequilas, but there is no such thing as good tequila. Tequila is the devil distilled. And my stepfather's friend offered it to my brother and me long after I was rendered into little more than a bow-tied suit full of long-haired mush and irrelevant conversation matter. I think I smoked cigarettes back then, any crush to get away from the gaze of too many rich Anglos. One way or another, I ended up in the pool. It must have been the next day. The Houston TSA had never seen anything as green as me being dragged through the airport, semi-conscious. The only thing greener was the word destroy written backward in permanent green ink across my lower back as I awoke in a puddle of pool water, shirtless upon white carpet, which took a print like silly putty. I passed out there wearing tux pants in one shoe or the other, shirt nowhere to be found, bow tie still affixed.